due to the fire on the motorway on the M4 earlier on, which is holding up all the traffic. Anyway, good evening ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the November meeting of UFO. And tonight we have the pleasure to play host to some members of Ghost Seekers Wales. Now, Ghost Seekers Wales are a dedicated group of paranormal investigators and psychic mediums. They carry out investigations in haunted locations throughout the UK, searching for evidence of paranormal activity, using specialist equipment and conducting scientific experiments. Their findings are documented, and they then determine whether they have discovered something that's logical or perhaps of a supernatural cause. A little like our group then, in as much as when we have an unexplained UFO sighting, we will firstly try to find a plausible explanation for what's been observed. Now tonight they're going to address you about their group and its activities and the equipment that they use. So hopefully they may be able to discuss any common links that exist between our two subjects. Now I know as many of you have been looking forward to tonight's talk, so would you please put your hands together and give a warm Sufon welcome to Dawn, Wayne and Aaron. Yeah, sure, up to you.
Oh yeah, I can't, very little, I can't see you. Hi guys, I'm a psychic medium and I've done it since I was, well, as long as I can remember. I have spirit talk to me, chitter-chatter all the time. I get it in pictures. So if I do suddenly come out with something, sounds a bit strange. It could be that it's spirit giving me a message and it just comes out, so you'll have to excuse that. We've got some pictures tonight where we've been on certain locations. We're going to put them up to have a little discussion. We'll try and show you some of the things that we picked up and see what you guys think. And then I can talk about different things, other things that we do as well. Do you want to put some pictures up? This is, click it up now. This is the boys' village. Has anyone used boys' village in the Vale of Morgan?
Let's have a talk.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this is the kitchen. If you look here, we took a picture of it and there was nothing there. And when we printed it out, you can see there's like a child stands in here. And that's in Boys Village. So, where is that?
Well, I did come in on this as well.
Yes, in Athens, West Aberfoyle, by the power station. Okay. So, that's
One of the things we quite often get when we take pictures in it is we go back and we look at them and nothing appears to be there, like when we took the picture. You go back to that picture 2 or 3 days later, or back to that set of pictures, almost like as though they're still developing within the digital cameras.
Yeah.
So it's the same with yourselves when you go out. Don't discard your pictures straight away. Go back to them a few days later, or a week, or fortnight later.
Yeah. So,
Sorry.
but yeah, this was quite good, this one, because obviously when we took it, I see things, and I say to them, just take pictures here, whatever, from what I see to try and capture for everybody else to see. So that's Boys Village. What's the next one? Sorry. God was right on front of me. The church. The church. So this one, I don't know if anybody can see it very well, but here there's an archway, and I kept getting drawn to the archway to come to the archway, and in the archway there's a door. And we took pictures, and we actually didn't see anything until we blew it up. And if you blow it up, there's a woman standing here, right on the archway. If you go back to the other one, you'll see, you can't see it very well. Go back to the last one.
You wait, all
No, no,
Go back to the last one. So you can't actually see it. If you look, you just see it. So we blow it up for people to see. She stands in there, and there was nobody there at all. And it was just pictures that we took that developed, and that was in the Brecon Cathedral, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Brecon.
I mean, sometimes people will say to us, oh, there's shadows on the stone or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like yourselves, if you're there and you see it and there is no shadows on the stone, there's no dark marks on the stone, that's when it comes out to you. And when you take, again, quite often we take the original picture, you look at the original picture, there is nothing there. But a couple of days later you look at that picture and there's something. Whether we overlook in the first instance or whatever, I don't know.
What's the next one we got? We've got one to interesting to try and get everyone to find out what happened. Is this the one in Booper Castle?
Yeah.
Right.
No, that's not the one.
No,
It's one of the ones.
It's one of the ones.
Right.
This is Google Castle. You can't see it very well. Go to the one with the two
windows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We took
Same window.
Yeah, we took a picture of a window.
Yeah.
And as you can see, there's a board with a hole in it. Now, you could not get upstairs at all. It was all blocked off, locked. We took a couple of pictures at the same time, standing in exactly the same place. But if you look at the second picture, the board has turned around and it's got a hole in. Exactly, there's the hole there. If you turn around, it's there.
Is that next one at the top as well? Or is that the ceiling?
That's
there.
there.
That's just the hole.
Just
Is that a window
Yeah.
inside? That's
Just above.
Yeah.
there.
Just
Yeah.
there, there's something
No,
there.
that's the ceiling.
Yeah.
That's the ceiling.
Yeah.
But it was, we just do not know how that's happened because you could not get up to this room. We tried. We tried everything. We tried putting our hands in to try and flip the thing inside. We just wasn't happening. But this is.
Well, that board is actually lower on the right hand
Yeah,
side
it is,
than on the
yeah.
left, isn't it? It's,
Yes.
it's come down
It is a
one
slope.
stone. One stone.
Yeah.
If you look at it,
You look at it properly, yeah.
if you represent window,
Yeah.
there's a cream stone there with a two
That,
That's right.
you're right.
Yeah. But the board is actually turned because you can see the hole is absolutely turned. We just, none of us can actually figure out
Underneath
how
here
that's happened.
is a walkway.
It
We're
could, be
literally only
something,
about 10 foot above.
it could be something falling over backwards, like,
Yeah,
on
but
the way
then,
from the window.
but then it's been turned around.
It didn't
Yeah,
move.
see? It
That
didn't.
board is still in the window now.
Yeah.
If you were to go there now, that board's still in the window.
It was taken exactly the same time, the same days, and it was just a click of pictures. It was either just a step back and it was just slightly further away. But the board has actually been totally turned round. And here, when I was there, I could see a man that's standing there that a few of the other team could actually see as well. We couldn't capture him very well, but he was standing there, and the board turned round. It was just, we just cannot work out how to turn around at all. So that one, I quite like that one. That's quite interesting.
Do you know what the board is made of?
Looks like plywood.
Yeah, yeah. Just
Looks like plywood.
So
I can do actually look after the repairs and all on this Google Castle. It's by Calbridge. It's off the lanes. It's accessible. You can walk across a couple of fields and get to it. Lovely venue. It's well looked after.
yeah,
And I grew up around the Vale, well, I grew up in Cardiff, moved to Vale of Glamorgan in 1971, and this particular place was somewhere we all used to go as teenagers, with flagons of cider, all the rest of it, as you did in them days. That room then was accessible, and they've
Yeah.
replastered it and they've done it up, and I think they use it for filming. Well, actually, the bastard executioner that was on Sky lately, there was parts of that filmed at this castle. They went off for a weekend with her grandfather or whatever, and it was filmed at Google Castle. And that road used to be accessible, and it's not no more.
yeah.
And me knowing the castle well, I tried every way to get in that,
And we couldn't get it.
and we couldn't get in there. Like, it was padlocked off and bolted off
Yeah.
from all the different areas you could get into it. Like,
This one is St Quentin's in Cowbridge. Has anyone used St
Yeah, I know
Quentin's? Yeah?
And Bledin Castle.
Yeah,
Yes.
well I
Oh,
don't
right,
like
so-
this one.
I love all my castles there.
I won't even go in it in the daytime now. I don't like it at all. Not a chance, no. So, rest is here. Now, I don't know, I'm hoping it can show up. You might have to, if she can blow it up a little bit more. Can anybody see? Look at the crown,
Yeah.
look on the robes.
Yeah.
Well, apparently his name's Gilbert. He was giving me the name Gilbert. And he followed us around the whole time. And I saw the picture, and we said, take a picture, and this is, I love this picture, it's amazing, because it's so clear. You can actually see the hair, the cloak, and everything. That was St Quentin's.
I took that picture. I couldn't see it when I was taking the picture. Couldn't see nothing there at all.
So I could see it. But you can see it comes to here, and then it just stops. There's his cloak there. And then we've got another one, I don't know if you can see it very well. We'll try and get it up here. It's not very clear, but there's actually a couple of people and a couple of children. You can't see them very well with it being blown up. But in this was a locked off door. And
There's a
when
gate that takes you up the stairs. To
yeah. When I first went in, I put my hands in and I actually got gripped and pulled towards the the gate, which freaked me out a little bit. And when we took a picture, which you can't see very well on the donut one, but there is actually a couple of people with a child there, standing there. No, what's the next we got? Have you got the ones with Aaron with the bubble in around and smoky? Big fences.
No one on the side of them.
These here, we were just going around and just taking pictures around. Nobody was smoking. It wasn't raining or anything.
What even cold?
Yeah, and we had these pictures, and we've had quite a few, didn't we, of these, all over the place. We've had some with wolves, and if you look into it properly, there's actually faces. There's a face here. You've just lost it now.
What's that?
It's still there.
You can see there's faces, so you can actually see the faces actually in the smoke. Well, I smoke, it looks like smoke. You know what I mean? So there's quite a lot of...
Look at it now, looks like one massive face on
Yeah.
its very...
Yeah. But I kept hearing a baby, and in one of these, I'm not sure if it's this one, there's actually a baby's face you can see. And that's... Well, we had quite a few of these, didn't we? And we've got ones with the orbs, didn't we? The big orb above someone's head, and that was in St. Quentin's.
They're the only three like those.
Where's the one in Landaf? If you go back to the last one, that was the bridge, wasn't it? Right, this was taken in Landaf Cathedral in Cardiff. And the bridge, as I was coming over the bridge, I don't like the feeling of the bridge. It's just got a really horrible, horrible feeling. And actually, we've done a little investigation. And as we walked around the graves, I had a feeling of someone going to grip me. And actually did grip me and pushed Gemma flying by the graves. And this really isn't a nice part of Landaf, but we don't know what this is. But that's on the bridge, isn't it, as we come over. And then the next picture, this is taken with infrared camera.
This is, if, for any of you that don't know, every digital camera has got a filter in. UV light and IR light, infrared light, our eyes can only see in the middle spectrum. We can't see the far ends of it. So every digital camera has got a filter in to bring those lights into the spectrum that we can see. So when you take a picture, that's what you see, is what your eyes can see. This camera has had the filter taken out. So you see, that's why it's got a red glow. That's perfect daylight there. When we took this picture, myself and Dawn went there on our own. And she'll tell you the rest of the story of it. I thought I'd explain about the camera.
Yeah, what happened was we wanted to go to his grandmother's grave. So I'd never been there before. And as we walked into Landaf, I had a spirit come to me named Sarah. And she wanted me to follow her. And we went all around the graveyard in all different directions, and she was telling me about the boy that was buried with her. And so I actually asked her, I said, take me to your grave, and so that's exactly what she done. Now I could see her, and she took me to this grave, and on the grave was her name, Sarah, and I took a look, went to take a picture, because I said, she's standing right by the grave, and this is what come out here.
Well, you can actually see that that's transparent. You can see the gravestones as you blow it up on a better screen. As you can see the dark through it, you can see the gravestones through it. So
because it's daylight, it's hard to say that figure wasn't there as in for everybody to see. All that was there was just the gravestones. But as we took it, this is the picture of Sarah. And that was actually her grave, which actually had her name and her little boy's name on, that was quite an interesting one, because it was just, we've gone out on a, just on a jolly basically anyway.
Yeah.
So that's Landaf. We have got quite a few different things. I don't know if has anybody ever been on a paranormal event where they've gone onto a... No?
I have.
Yeah?
I have been on a paranormal event. Nothing really happened, so...
Yeah, sometimes it can happen like that, because obviously, like with us, obviously we're not going to fake anything at all. So if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But we do try everything to try that. Do you know where you went?
I went to the halfway house in Cloneckley.
Ah, right.
Yeah, halfway
we
in,
had quite a few things in the halfway.
Yeah.
So, but again, it's
We've got quite a bit of history to it, so you
Yeah.
know, I just didn't pick up on anything myself personally. But
yeah, there's a lot in there, and but then again, it's like a lot of places. We can go somewhere, like we actually done. Was anyone at the Skirt Inn?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Now we went there a couple of weeks back. I couldn't believe how quiet it was. It was so quiet. Like I was picking things up, but obviously when you've got public there, it's very hard to tell them what you're hearing and what you're seeing if they're not seeing it as well.
Yeah.
So it can be hard if you go on a paranormal event. So we do try to do a lot of other things. Like we've got a lot of equipment we've bought tonight. We're going to try and put some on later for everyone to have a little go at. So we've got the spirit box. Did you do the spirit box? Yeah. But we've also got the portal. So anyone use from the portal? Yeah. It's very similar to the spirit box, but it actually takes the white noise out. So you actually get the spirit talk. It's quite clear. So we're going to try and do that later with the. That we actually use that on events, don't we? So for people, and then where's the other ones?
Have you got the red ones from Dunraven? Which are taken.
I can't even see what they can. Should
Yeah.
my glasses on, shouldn't I? That one with this, where's the one with the skull?
No, that's St John's. Now that there, right, there's the three I was after. What's the other?
That one?
That one. As you see there, it does appear like there's a little face. If you go to the next one. No,
The other way.
other way. No, other way. Other way after the red.
Oh,
Oh, you didn't
don't
put them all
know
up.
Do you want to show that again?
Emma!
They're the only ones I was
Oh,
sent.
don't worry. Go to the button here. This is a horrible picture of me, guys, right? Just saying. But what happened was, we were in Dunraven Castle, weren't we? And I kept having spirit touching my face, and it was driving me mad. And I kept thinking, and then all of a sudden I said, you know what? I said, I feel like someone's trying to put a mask on me. And they took a picture, and if you have a look, I look like I've got a huge long nose, which is horrible. See? I felt like I kept feeling, and they kept giving me. It was like, it's those masks, you know, like that, the big beak type thing on. Like it's like the plague one, wasn't it? They just put stuff in the beak, wasn't it? So it was that type thing they kept giving me. And if you have a look, I look like horrific. They look a great big nose. So that was Dunraven, wasn't it? So we'll bypass that one quickly. 'Cause it's
Unfortunately, they didn't put the other two pictures on to go with that one red one. A guest with us on that night, I was taking pictures in infrared against just all over the place. And one of the guests asked to use the camera. And she took 3 pictures, click, 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 as fast as you could take them. And where you seen that there was a bit of a splodge, and you could sort of make the next 2 pictures. The next one was a bit clearer, and the next one was a proper face. Like as though it was emerging out of the wall. I was stood with her and she just went, click, click, click. At exactly the same patch of wall. It's a damn shame we haven't got them, but...
Isn't it? 'Cause that was just underlying.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if anyone can see that very clearly, but we were down in Cowbridge Road. What's the lane? Wait, what's the lane?
That is in Slammy Angle,
Tommy Angle.
between St Athan and...
And we were just taking pictures, and we kept having lights flashing, and I kept having spirit just flashing, split seconds, straight in front of me gone. And I kept asking to take a picture. Well, we took a picture, and this came out, and I don't know if anyone sees it, it looks like a rabbit to me, there, and yet there was nothing to even make that,
I actually had an EMF meter in my hand.
yeah, there was no camera or anything, it was just a normal camera, we took a picture, and this is what this came out as. So I'm not sure whether it is a rabbit or what it is, but that is a weird
There's one
picture
with
that we
the
just
blue
can't-
flash from it, don't
Yeah, no, it's the next one, yeah. And then this one here, that was with EMF just talking to spirit to see if we could capture them speaking to us. It's just like a little recorder. And as we took pictures, we had this blue light flash over. And again, there was nothing to make the light. There was no lights, there was no flash, there was nothing, you know, just in his hand to make that. So we can't explain that either. But that was quite good. And in this lane,
The EVP, which I had in my hand, it was the EVP, is in there, and it's black.
so,
Tiny little black.
yeah, so there's
dictaphone,
no light,
basically.
there's nothing. But that was that was quite a good one. But we had a lot of sound going on in this place where everybody could hear it, and it was actually horse hooves and of a cart wheels. That was very loud, and that was everyone could hear it because it was so loud, which is really good because for having people who don't normally hear, it was really good for them to actually hear that. And this is where we were getting the lights and the different pictures. What's the next one? God, it's got a light not flashing your eyes.
I'm blind in you.
Oh, this was the house investigation,
Yeah, this was
wasn't
the
it?
house. Tell me.
This is here. This was a house we got called in because a lady was having a lot of haunting going on in the house, a lot of things moving around, a lot of things waking her up, waking her children up. The little girl, this is the little girl's bedroom. I know this teddy is a bit like the EMF. EMF? Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
got EMF and motion sensors in it.
Yeah.
It'll either light up if somebody walks past it,
Like
or the other lights in the arms and the feet light up if there's EMF, which is electromagnetic field.
magnetic.
Yeah.
So we put this on the child's bed and went downstairs, and we had cameras going off trying to take pictures. And we found this to be really, really weird that we had all these lights coming off the teddy, and we can't really explain what it is, but we thought, right, maybe it was to do with the cameras or something. But then as I'm walking down the stairs,
For anybody that doesn't know what an EMF meter is,
that's the teddy.
I got one here. Now,
If you see above my head,
it'll light up.
I've got a ball of lights following me downstairs. The red and the blue, which they couldn't see until I actually walked down the stairs, and someone took a picture and went, oh my god, you want to see the coloured balls that are following you down the stairs. And this is what this is, which obviously had come from the child's room, because that was where the teddy had been. So we did have capture. Teddy slightly moved a couple of times, didn't it?
Yeah.
We found that there was a child in the house, and someone we picked up who hadn't long died behind a house. He came through actually on the spirit box, which was quite good for her to hear, and that was the house that we cleansed, wasn't it?
Yeah, because he was saying something about you left still in like an arm. Or
Yeah,
something,
that's
wasn't
right.
he?
Yeah, he kept saying, and it happened that it was a tractor.
Tractor
wasn't it?
overturned up the back of the house in a small lane.
Yeah,
It killed him. It was, what's the name from the pub, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I actually knew the fella.
yeah.
And
But he wanted a message given to someone in the street, so he actually came through, which was quite nice to help and pass the message on. But it was the child that was there as well was apparently a child that had died a few years before, actually in the house, and this is what I think is the blue lights, because we do normally find that a lot of orbs that we see. Pale blue, I always find are normally children or things like that. Black orbs, we don't really get very often, do we? Which we don't want. It's not very nice. But I do think the blue lights is actually the child that is coming down with us, and we actually had a few other things go on downstairs, didn't we, with the child. So
Yeah.
that's quite good, and that was the house cleansing we done.
Yeah, I think the best bit about that investigation was you left the room and you got told, I'd come back and smacked in the face.
Yeah, I did actually, isn't it? Yeah, I had the lady's grandmother actually came through, and she was giving me a message for her daughter, so I was giving her the message actually in the bedroom. And I thought the spirit had finished, so I went to walk out, and it came back on the spirit box, wasn't it? Come back. And as I came back, I literally had a slap as if someone would give me a whack and say, I was still talking to you. Don't do that. And it was, wasn't it? It was like the
She even
mark,
said as
wasn't
well,
it?
that's what her grandmother used to do as well. Was
Yeah.
that if she was in the middle of a conversation and you left and went back, she'd smack you in the face and say, like, don't
Yeah.
leave when I'm talking, she'd stay here.
Yeah, so it was like, it was verifying it for her really as well, that I did feel it, because she was just like, oh my god, that's what my grandmother used to do. But it was, well, that was quite good. And that was the house investigation, that one was.
The teddy was a trigger object, obviously. Did you get
Yeah.
many in the movie?
Yeah, the teddy is amazing. We had that in, was it Caldecott Castle? Which one was it? The teddy just kept going off constantly.
You could, when we were wandering around the castle, you could see up in the window.
Yeah.
We locked up in
Caldecott,
locked
yeah.
off in a room there.
Yeah, we had that because in Caldecott Castle we picked up that there was a schoolroom. So we decided, right, we'll leave the teddy in the room and ask the children to move the teddy for us. And we went to a different part of the building, and you actually saw the. Where's the spirit house, wasn't it? Because it's quite good. So we go to the spirit house in Evesham. Well, they've got the doctor that's there, and that's actually very, very active in there. It's really little. It's got the little shop in the front, and then we go up the back. We actually had, this has actually got a poltergeist. The poltergeist is Colin. And it's also, it's not human form, it's
Non-human
any entity, it's yeah, that's what it is, right? Not entity. And all you see is the red eyes peering at you. So we did capture a couple of them. We had the doctor's bag, the original bag, and we actually had our hands on it, and we were actually asking to move it. And the bag actually started breathing like there was someone inside and moving up and down. And the stethoscope you had last time, didn't you?
They also asked the doctor if he was present, if there was anybody that ill that he could help. I got severe heart trouble, 27% function. And the bag 3 times on command moved towards me,
Yeah.
with us all having our hands on it.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it was pulsing like a heartbeat. Like as though the leather itself was moving.
Yeah, so it is really
It
good. The
was-
spirit house is quite active. You've got a lot of things in the spirit house. And we did pick up, it was a picture in the mirror, wasn't it? The one that, there's someone.
Got a few in the mirror.
No, which is the one that you went to last time, and there's an actual man sitting in the head in the mirror.
I'm not sure who sent me that one.
It's not supposed to be this one.
Just go through them all.
This is down in the cellar in the spirit house, and other paranormal teams have been there where they've actually, a few of them have actually been taken over by the poltergeist. This is the doctor. That's it there, Emma.
Is it?
Yeah. Oh, there he is in the mirror.
Ah, yeah. Ah.
Are you going to tell them about my experience?
Yes, I am.
Mhm.
You get it in.
Which I didn't know.
And then you'll see here, there's a mirror which is down the back of the shop and the second room. And they were just taking random pictures around, and it wasn't until a few days later that actually in here, you can actually see the man's face here, looking at us.
It's almost like scrying then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well we do scrying, we do a lot of scrying with the public. We have got some pictures of the scrying. It's quite hard to see unless you're standing in front of it to take pictures of it. But in the spirit house where we don't listen to scrying now.
Oh, I had to pick mine, didn't I?
Yeah. With the scrying, does anybody ever try scrying?
Yeah.
Yeah? For those who haven't, scrying is basically you're looking to a clear object really. You can actually do it in water or anything that does a reflection. With a small light, some people use water, a little bit of water on it. And when you look in, the spirit actually changes your face to their face. So when you're looking, like a couple of these, I can't remember which you turned into. Was it you turned into the man, didn't you, in this one? I can't remember, but one of them you change. It's so weird because sometimes you totally change. You grow beards and moustaches, and you actually look in the mirror, and you're actually changing into the spirit that's there, which is quite interesting. It's quite good for the public to see as well, especially for people who don't see and don't hear and things like that. It's really, really good. We've got a lot of it halfway. We actually had quite a lot of scrying. So
Yeah,
it's
we had
really
loads.
good scrying halfway. Really good.
Yeah, because we don't always use mirrors either, do we? We just use a light underneath them.
Yeah.
Shining up on our face.
Yeah, yeah, we done that in, was it Caro? With the, and was it you that looked like your black teeth actually?
You always pick on me.
It suddenly looked in Caro Castle, we just done all that with the torch, and
That was
everyone
fast.
looking. And you suddenly lost all your teeth, didn't you?
Yeah.
in the spirit house, they all said I was possessed.
Hmm.
We were using a Ouija board,
Yeah.
and the Ouija board is there, and we
you
use a
can't see
particularly
very
small
well.
glass.
That's right.
And whilst I was on the Ouija board, it seemed to be reacting to the questions I was asking, so they told me to continue. But while I was continuing, they all witnessed my voice change, my face start to change. They were telling me that I was being possessed, and I didn't believe them because I couldn't hear it myself. The only sensation I had was a tingling, like just electric tingling, right the way down the back of my body, all of my arms, legs, a lot. As it continued, the tingling came through me, almost like electric current, to the front of me. She was going mental with me to tell it to leave. So I did.
No, you didn't, you fit
Not at first, no. But I did. And when I did, I sweated all over instantly. The tingling went, and from head to toe, and they could all see it. My face, the palms of my hands, the lot. Instant sweat. I couldn't tell my voice had changed or anything.
Yeah, it was.
But
It
they
was,
were all
it was a total
witnessing me.
change. It was a total changed voice from him. And what would happen from before is another paranormal group had gone there, and the same thing had happened. And actually, it's, both guys goes through. And the lady that took over last time became very, very ill and had to be carried out. She was so bad they had to shut it quickly. The investigation off. So this is why I shouted it in, because you don't,
By the way,
unless you
I'm
are under
the
total
non-believer
control,
of the gang that tries to bust everything.
unless you're in total control, I don't believe that you should allow them to do it, because I just, you've got to be in control at all times, and if you just let them do it, that's not giving permission. So this is why I shouted it and told him off.
Apologies for all these photos.
I was going to say, yeah, be careful.
Don't worry, there's nothing dodgy on it, I hope. You might not be able to hear something there.
What is this one?
It's just a motorbike. This is talking.
Sorry, we're just trying to see if we can hear the motorbike in the image.
I can hear it right here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you can't hear it there. The sound of the motorbike is actually a story. There's one of the women that we used to be in the team, her brother-in-law was killed on a motorbike earlier in the year. I'd had the message a week before he died. I didn't realise it was actually for him, that there was going to be a motorbike accident and such like. A few times in different investigations, he's actually come through on the Ouija board, or through the spirit box, through the portal, trying to give a message to things. We believe that the sounds of the motorbike, which we're trying to get at, is actually him. Obviously, he died on the motorbike. So has anybody else had any strange things with, as they think is spirit or anything? Anyone has any? Yeah?
Where do you want me to start?
Yeah, I know about it.
A few examples.
Yeah? What?
Well, just one time I was going to my brother's house for New Year's Eve and the family was taking some pictures in the camera and
That's what's coming
you said something about orbs, there was a couple of blue orbs shining
Right,
there.
okay.
And then to one picture you can see the whole mist surrounds me, brother, you know, the rest of the family, his
Yeah.
kids and all that. It's just some strange silhouettes in there, I reckon.
Yeah.
I don't know, I can't see them on making that, but you can tell the
Yeah, it's
smoke
interesting,
is,
yeah.
or mist is lit out.
Yeah, well, this is it. We have a couple of the mist things. When you know it's not there, and then you get a picture with it showing, it's just like, hang on a minute, and you know that wasn't there, you know. So, so yeah. So, did you say you asked?
Yeah, sorry. I know someone was doing a Ouija board,
Yeah.
and I don't know if anyone's even going to recognise this because I had to actually look it up.
Right.
And it came through, so what's in him? It's a DON
Right.
Quixote.
Right.
Don Quixote.
Right.
It's a fictitious character. He was doing a fight for chivalry and he was so good with a sword he would fight windmills.
Right.
What on earth is that? But anyway, they said, right, so who's going to win the pools? Because this was years ago now.
Yeah.
Who's going to win the pools? And they went, Gary. And my mother's friend was saying, all right, we get the message, but he won 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
Yeah.
so what's, because she's not talking to a fictitious
Sometimes
book
it's scary though.
character.
We have on the Ouija board sometimes. What we actually have is sometimes it could mean something totally different. It might not be that it's that person.
Yeah.
It could be someone, say it's a film character, that might be, it's like recognising, I'm trying to give you, validating something for that person. So it could be that, or we get a lot of spirits, we play games,
No, it's just
you know.
fun she said that straight after.
Yeah,
That's
why
actually
did
my
you-
first name, Gary.
It wind people up, it's a bit like opening your front door and
Yeah.
inviting anybody in, you don't know who's going to come in.
That's right, yeah.
There's
We've had,
bad people, there's good people, there's bad spirits,
Yeah.
there's good spirits.
yeah, now we've had some quite bad ones, and what we try to do, we always bless the board, we always bless afterwards as well. But we have had a few where they've tried coming in and then we'll literally say goodbye to them and move them on because I don't want any nasty ones because we've had a few, haven't we?
We've actually had non-human entities where they, not human, we can't prove what it is, we don't know.
Yeah,
Remember that time in the spirit house, you know,
yeah,
we don't know what we were talking to.
that's right, yeah. But it gives it, they sometimes give you a human look, but it's actually not human look. So, and that, we do have that in the spirit house. The other place was, it was Dunraven, wasn't it?
Yeah.
In Dunraven, which is in Southern Down, the beach, you know that one there? Yeah? Freaked me out completely because I was walking through and I saw lots of spirits and lots of things going on, and all of a sudden I saw these, well, I don't even know what they are. They look like stick type people, but they were all distorted and crawling up the thing where they've got the red eyes. Not realising that afterwards we found out with Alan, wasn't it?
Yeah, Colin always is
So
well into his
apparently,
third realm
the
and
third
Middle
realm,
Earth realm and all the rest of
Apparently
it.
the fairies, strange, but apparently they have been seen by so many people, and exactly as I saw them, all distorted. They're definitely not like fairies like you think of fairies, all pretty and that.
No, it's like
But that was all over Dunraven, and that was up the steps in the grass and everything, wasn't it? And they were just like following us around, and that's actually documented from what did you say it was, the third realm, isn't it? Because it's with the Castle Cork, isn't it, as well?
Yeah,
So
there's
that's-
apparently people that are into their fairies, pixies, and all that, which also comes into the paranormal, but it's not our expertise at all. But Colin obviously actually owns the Village of Morgan pub in Kelbridge. That's his ball game. We went out on an event, he came on an investigation with us, and that's how we come out.
Yeah,
There's apparently at Dunraven Castle, it's a portal,
yeah,
and the fairies, pixies can come through the portal at certain times of year, certain moons. It's thin, and they come through.
yeah. And it was weird because a couple of us saw it, and I thought I was losing it because I didn't know what they were until he actually said so many people have actually seen these things, but they actually crawl up and they're all totally sort of quite big red eyes, all black, and they just followed us, didn't they? And they sort of, I don't know whether they tried to frighten us or what it was, but that was weird. But that was in Dunraven, in Southern Down. We didn't get anything really there to do pictures to show people. So,
The red ones which didn't come.
yeah.
Lawrence had his hand
don't
up just
blame me,
now.
no one said them ones to me. Don't blame me.
Lawrence had his hand up, but he was asking for a
Yeah, try, yeah.
Yeah, every now and again, Emlyn lets me off my leash and I try to escape Swansea UFO network, running into the night like. And every time I try to escape, all these weird things start happening in the house. It's almost like as if it's an indication that I'm supposed to be back here.
You're supposed to be back here, is when you
I get the number 36 every time I look at the goddamn clock. It's 36 minutes past. I don't know what it means, and it drives me crazy.
So that's the message trying to get to you there. Is that
Yeah,
cool?
yeah, but what does it mean? I've been trying to work it out for 12 years. What does 36 mean? And the cat's tail goes like a fox for no apparent reason. There's only me and her in the house.
So obviously there's a link to it. There's obviously a message they're trying to get to you. which
I've tried and tried,
you're probably better off actually seeing if someone can actually get that message for you, because I've obviously tried. Because the thing is, with what I do, I think everybody can do it. Every single person here can actually do what I do. It's just children. If you think of children, a lot of children see spirit, and they talk when they're little. They're all the time.
Yeah.
You talk to them. And they do say, but when they get to about 7, they start forgetting how to do it, and that's when it starts changing, where you're not believing and things like that. But with myself, it actually got stronger, and I was able to see, hear things from so young. The other thing I do is not just spirit, I actually see things that have happened, or I can go into a place and I might see what it was like beforehand, and I'll see things like that. Like when I was tiny, the earliest thing I had, that I remember, was I used to speak to the man in the cloak, I used to call him, to my mother, and I used to sit in the garden talking to him, and it found out years later that my garden was actually a monk's graveyard, and actually the man that I saw in the cloak was actually one of the monks. So, and I used to see him all the time.
He lives next to a graveyard.
In 1997, I got pinned to the bed by an entity.
Horrible. I got it.
Well, I questioned Austin Charles about it. Have you heard of Austin Charles?
Yeah.
And I described the experience, and he said it wasn't negative. He said one of your chakras were out or something, and it was being realigned and all that stuff, but it didn't seem very friendly to me.
Well, I had that at a friend's house, and I would be honest, I will still not go into his back bedroom. I won't do it. It's just what happened. I went up to bed one night, and we'd actually been on an investigation that night. I'd gone back, went upstairs to bed. I thought he'd walked into the room, because it was pitch black, but he walked into the room, asked what you want, realised it wasn't him, with the cover over my head, thinking, oh my God, why did I pull that? I don't know. And I pulled it back, and I could see 2 figures. And then all of a sudden, I had this like pounding, pushing me down, pushing me down, pushing me down, until I actually couldn't speak and I couldn't scream. And I must have passed out. And when I came round, I got up and I went downstairs, and then put the spirit box on the next day. And we actually asked it, and it actually came through, and we asked, what were you trying to do? And it actually came out, kill you. That was actually on the spirit box, what he done. So yeah, that's not a nice feeling at all. So I do know that feeling. It's really not nice, yeah.
Well, what happened for me was it pinned my arms to my chest,
Yeah.
and I tried to scream, and it sort of blocked
Yeah.
the link, so I couldn't scream.
Yeah.
And I was just raging at it to the point where my throat was sore, and I just thought it's just easier just to give up, and I passed out, and I woke up, and to cope, I just convinced myself that it didn't happen.
Yeah. No,
But it's never happened since.
Yeah, that feeling in the throat though, that's quite common with the things. That's what happened with me. I just couldn't get it out at all. I couldn't scream, I couldn't do anything. So.
And 10 years after, I woke up one afternoon, and there was an entity, like a black shadow figure, standing next to the bed, and I was in a state of, what do you call it, paralysis?
Yeah.
So I just went to sleep, but when I woke up it had gone, so I don't know if that was in my mind.
Really, because if you see things like that, you're actually quite open, and if you're quite open, that could be why they're coming around you and you're seeing things.
Well, I've had psychic dreams from a kid, like, so.
That's why you're open.
Can
Because that can
I
happen.
come in here, sir? One thing that pops up quite a lot with the alien abduction scenarios is the presence of a shadow person or a hooded figure, like a monk sort of
Right,
figure.
okay.
So it's quite interesting what you said about your monk.
Yeah.
I've spoken to a few people now who said they've encountered monks,
Yeah.
but associated with grey aliens as well,
Right.
or just on their own, associated with poltergeist activity and sort of sleep paralysis.
We actually
So
get
there's a
a
definite
lot of monks.
crossover.
We actually do, don't we?
Yeah.
Wherever we go, we get a lot of monks. So that actually could be quite possible, really. Because I don't think it's been anywhere where we haven't had a monk, really. Which sounds strange, but everywhere we've been at that point, so that's actually quite possible that there is.
I mean, thinking about it, if they were spirits of monks, why would monks be sort of on the earth plane? Because they'd be very religious and they believe in an afterlife,
Yeah.
and go into heaven when they die. Why would they be still around?
Yeah.
So maybe they aren't monks.
They can be a guide as well.
Yeah.
We're probably naughty monks.
But there is, I think, the shadow people. They've
Yeah.
been called shadow people. And there's so many sightings of them or encounters with them.
Some would say
Yeah.
they're drones.
Quite often,
Yeah, so you get that as well. That's what
quite often
say
linked
that.
with grey aliens and abduction scenarios.
Right, yeah. Yeah,
So what do you
like-
think about that? Do you think it's an interdimensional being
Could well be.
pretending to be an alien?
They can be, because we do get a lot of those type things where we see things and there's something else, but we don't know whether they're of the earth. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's quite possible. It's like this thing we had in the spirit house, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It wasn't of this earth, and it was something else.
They told us it's not from Earth, it's from different
Yeah.
planet.
And that actually came
So
through.
planet.
It's not from Earth, it's from different planet.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And that came through on the spirit box. That actually came
And this
through.
place, the Spirit House, is a
So-
16th century house, or was a 16th century house. It's on Evesham High Street, and one of the massive Civil War battles happened right outside. So, yeah, it's
Yeah. Yeah, because it was when I picked up the had a lot of things going on when I walked out of the church, you know. So, but yeah, that's quite the thing. That could possibly be that, because we have a lot of that, don't we, where they're not of this earth. But that particular one in the Spirit House, where it actually said he wasn't of this planet, that was quite good because that
So
actually came through on the Spirit Box.
Interdimensional sort of contact
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, but he actually that was his actual words, wasn't it? And that came, no, was it the portal or the Spirit? I can't remember which one it was now. But he actually came through, didn't he? And he actually said he wasn't. So that's quite possible to come through with that. So.
I mean, my beliefs are that every single one of us has got the powers that Dawn has got. Because I believe that when this planet was ready to be inhabited, passing aliens of a humanoid form landed here and eventually interbred. And that's why our brain is so big, and big parts of it we don't use to its full capacity, and they still don't understand really exactly what goes on in certain places. And I just think it's skills that we've all forgotten how to use. And certain people like Dawn are tuned into it. And again, on our point of death, where where there's horrendous death or whatever, the electrical currents and whatever in our body, I think they throw out, and then people like Dawn pick up on them. Whether it's shortwave, whether it's above radio waves that we can pick up on our equipment or whatever else, I don't know. But I've always believed that.
Yeah, but we do have strange things where we're not sure, especially with the non-human things, so that's actually quite a possibility that a lot of the... Because they changed, we've got the ones where they changed, haven't they? They've changed form as well, so they're not the... it's certainly not a person, there's something else, aren't they? We've seen things like that.
Like a low entity.
Yeah.
Have any of you ever had an out-of-body experience?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Go on then.
No, I just see myself in places, that
Yeah.
are full of creatures and just humanoid figures, and it'd take me a while to go into detail, but if you ever want me to write you a story, I'll
Yeah, it's
probably
quite
will.
good, 'cause
But
I
it's
know-
just,
It's interesting when it does that.
I was just sorry, the gentleman at the back there was talking about a black shadow thing. I've had this exact same thing happen to me, where the room went, I don't know if you've ever taken a picture, you do the inverted colour on the film camera.
Yeah.
I think that's what the colour of the room went like.
Yeah.
And the sound was all like very sharp static and broken, and
Yeah.
I saw myself out the body chasing it out. I've had to fight these things sometimes,
Yeah.
actually.
I know, people think you're looping, won't they, if you say it, but
Well,
yeah, I know, I
I
understand.
think we're in good company here, like that.
I do understand. It is, because I
Some of my,
have things like
I
that.
won't mention their names, but some of my family members have had this problem, and when I've been down their house or something, they've always come up, they've always like, who the hell are you? You know what I mean? You can't be here.
Yeah.
I have to chase them away. It's crazy.
It is crazy. If people who haven't experienced it think you're a bit loopy, but yeah, I've had things where, like I had one, I wasn't sure, I haven't long started doing what I've gone out and I thought I was dreaming when I was seeing things. And I came in up the next day and I thought I'd been to my daughter-in-law's house. I actually saw my granddaughter being really, really sick and everything, but I felt like I was above her. And I thought, God, I had a weird dream last night. So I dreamt I was in the house and whatever else. My daughter-in-law ran and she told me Lily was so sick last night. She was sick everywhere. She was like, okay. And that was my first time that had happened. So it is a bit weird for that. So has anybody else had any other experiences?
Near-death out-of-body experiences?
My mother, when she was in hospital, she died afterwards, they said, for 33 seconds. She had pneumonia, left lung collapse. She was floating on the ceiling, and she was like, what the hell do they do in the movies? Wiggle your eyes, wiggle your eyes. So she was trying to push her off. She could hear him say, you need to do an emergency tracheotomy.
Yeah.
She's managed to push herself back in body. She's heard him say, oh, she's back.
Yeah.
And she was that convinced, and whether it happened or not, I don't know, she was that convinced. When my brothers died last month,
Yeah.
we were both screaming, if you're on the bloody ceiling, push yourself off it, get back in your body. Do you know what I mean? But she was that convinced it happened.
Yeah. Well, it does. You speak to a lot of people and they'll have exactly the same experiences.
I had a motorbike accident in the 70s, about 1979. Over 100 mile an hour, a car come across me, cut me up, poof, flew through the air, bike tumbling down the road, middle of the A48. And I watched my own body. I literally went upwards. When they recovered the motorbike, blah, blah, there was scrapes off the taps of my cowboy boots up through the side, vertically up through the petrol tank. I seen my body hit the floor and tumble, and then I was like hovering and the bike tumbling on down the road, and then bang, nothing, I rejoined my body. That was,
Same thing happened to me when I was 6 years old. I nearly drowned in a pool, and as I floated to the bottom, very aware of what I'd done,
Yeah.
I was told not to go in, and I went in because everyone else was. So as I was floating down, I then started floating up and higher until I got to the ceiling.
Yeah.
And then I was aware that I was going to go outside of the building, so I was really kind of like, ooh, a bit worried, but I can see this kind of crowd on the floor, on the side of the pool,
Yeah.
and a lot of people, and all of a sudden I did not want to go any further because I felt very uncomfortable and this didn't feel right. And then there I was underneath this crowd of people, spewing up lots of water.
Yeah.
So,
awesome.
but do you lose your kind of consciousness? As soon as you lose consciousness, is that when your body, detaches?
I don't
through
know
the
because
pain,
I was in the air.
I was
And I
very
watched my
aware of
body
how
hit the
stupid
floor,
I'd
so-
been.
Yeah.
you know.
Strangely.
I was told
But
not
if
to
I
do it,
did
but I did
similar
it.
to when to yourself, I was actually 7 years old and I was on Sutherland Beach, and a wave knocked me under the water. Now, I don't remember the drowning, the feeling panicky. I don't remember that at all.
That's exactly. I had no
Yeah.
panic because I knew I'd done something stupid. I took it all on board.
Yeah, I was
My
just
fault.
watching the waves go over me, but I was not
Yeah.
panicking. I can still see it to this day. I wasn't panicking. I was seeing the waves just go over, and I was calm, absolutely calm, until my brother picked me up and pulled me out. Then all of a sudden, I sort of come to, and that's when the panic came. But it was just calm, absolutely
Yeah,
calm.
same here. Absolute calm.
Totally calm. So I think when you speak to a lot of people about the same thing, it's similar type experiences. It's just like very calm, and you're actually seeing these things. And I do believe it does happen. So like with your mum, I really do believe that happens because you speak to a lot of people, and they say the same type thing. And I really do.
A scientist, sorry, because you said you were a skeptic as well, he did an experiment and put a really high shelf up in an ICU.
Yeah.
And what would something everyone would respond to? Money.
Mm.
So he put a £20 note on that,
Yeah.
and he quizzed people who had died and come back. He said there was a 73% rate, which I just think is amusing because you're floating on the ceiling, essentially dead, going, oh, it's 20 quid there, I'll have that when I come back down. do you know what I mean? That he's put something that everyone would relate to. It's like, essentially, more studies need to be done, but it could be scientifically proven, really.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I totally believe it. I really do. Not because it's just happened to myself, but it's like lots of people have said, and they nearly all say exactly the same thing. They all have this calming feeling. You don't panic. There's no panic at all until you come back, and there's certain you suddenly come back and you feel everything now. But while you're sort of having this experience, you're quite calm. I mean, there's no panic there.
Yeah,
So like, I do believe that it does happen.
In my beliefs, again, this is where aliens and paranormal cross, because it's powers that we got that remove us from our body at a traumatic experience, or is it actually paranormal?
I like something about 20 odd years ago. I joined this sailing boat. We were gonna, it's like a tour ship it was, so we were gonna sail all around, go down to Spain, Portugal, come back. And when we had crossed the docks, I was lying on my bunk one night and I thought, oh, I wonder what would happen. And then all of a sudden I had this image of the boat hitting rocks, And I thought, oh, that's strange. Why would rocks be out at sea? So anyway, didn't think much of that. And about 3 months later then, we'd actually left Gloucester, we'd sailed down around the Bristol Channel, we'd come up to Swansea, anchored in Swansea, and we managed to get, it's quite a longish sort of thing, but we managed, a couple of them jumped over the side of the boat, and there's about 8 of us to jump off the bow onto the rocks. So we're talking about a 25-foot drop. Because the boat was going like this all the time. And it was breaking up. It took about 5 minutes for the boat to be matured, basically. Yeah. So anyway, I do, because I'm a surfer, I know what to look for, as in the state of the sea. So using all that knowledge I gained, you know, over the years, and I say, right, come on, the boat's all like that, jump. So at the time, people would jump in. Just about to jump off, and all the sails came down already, the rig and the sails, so we had to fight to get all that off, and there was 3 of us left on the bow of the boat. And I said, right, okay, got to time it now, because the boat was breaking up, and as it was rolling like that, I said to her, right, we got to go jump. And the girl said to me, says, I can't. I said, no, you got no choice, you've got to jump. So I jumped off the boat. As I landed, the boat had gone back like that, the water was coming through, and the first person that came to me in the dream was going in the water, and the water put her hands up. So I looked, I thought, Christ, I can't go in and save her, because if I do, I put myself in danger, I put other people in danger then, because they'll have to try and save me. Yeah. So I have lifeguard training, so spur of the moment, I can't do it. But I sort of kept an eye on where she went, and thought, right, the tide was coming in, the sea was rough, right, I had to get everybody off the boat. Oh, yeah, after this woman had been washed down, I looked up, and the second person in the dream, she was still on the bow of the boat. She wouldn't jump. I mean, in about 5 minutes, you're looking there, again, you're looking, oh, can I do it, can somebody help her? And the chances are, you can't. So it goes, right, okay, then, saw that, and then there's about 8 to 10 of us standing on the rocks. I said, oh God, you know, we've got to get out of here, because of the rocks. It was so rough, and we had to climb up the cliff face basically to get to safety. Right. Now it came to this gully, and I've been back there, literally 6 or 7 times since, and I'd say this gully was 20 foot wide, 15 to 20 foot wide. On the day, it was about 8 foot. And we could jump across from one side of the gully to the other. Yeah. We've even thought about doing it. Every time we were down there, we thought, Christ, how did we manage to jump across that? It's just impossible. About from me to you away. Right. But on the day of question, it was literally a big launch and you were on the rock, and somebody would pull us up. Yeah. So I was the last, there's 2 of us now, the last ones to jump across the gully. Of course, because the tide was, the waves were coming in, it was, you know, it was washing through, so you had to take your time and time it, so as it was dropping back, you jump across and get to safety. So there's 2 of us now, we jumped across, and as we jumped across, the guys put their hand up, and I felt the water, this big wave come over me, over us, like, you know. Yeah. I thought, oh, right, hang on. So hang on to that, and the next thing I know, I was dragged over literally 30 to 40 foot of rocks. Went down in the water, surfaced, so right, okay, I'm alright, I know where I am now, so swam back out to get something floating basically to help me. And I tried to swim into the rocks, swim in to climb up again, it was still too rough, so I swam back out. But all the time I was quite aware of what was going on, looking, you know, to see what, if there's any other stuff to hang on to which was better what I was holding on to. I could see all the people, the mates up on the cliff, because they managed to climb up. Yeah. And it was all pointing to me. There's a helicopter above, you know, but they didn't have any winching gear. So I didn't realise I got winched up, got taken on top of the cliff, and I did at the time. I didn't know that the guy I got swept off with was the last person that woke me up in the thing, and he died as well. Yeah. And
so do you think it was spirit giving you a premonition of what's going to happen?
This is what I get into. I've done this all on Facebook. I'm one of these groups that do something similar to that, like, you know, post a picture. So I just posted a picture of my face as it is, and it was strange because this woman said, "Oh, there's a little boy there. There's a little boy looking over you," and he said, "Oh, his name is something to do with there, you think it is?" I haven't told her anything, nothing whatsoever, and I said, "Oh well," I told her, I said, "Well, I got shipwrecked, and I dragged over rocks about 30, 40 feet, and there's no way, if I was dragged over rocks in Swansea, I'd be torn to shreds. I didn't have one mark on me, not a mark."
You were being looked after.
And she said, "Well, he was looking after you at the time, and he was the one that gave you the message is that you were going to be okay, and you know, it's all that sort of thing." Now, before I was born, my mum and dad, my mum rather, she gave birth, but one of them was stillborn, and one was died. Well, both of them died, like, you know, before they were born. And it turns out now that I'm more or less convinced that the child that saved me is one of my
siblings.
Yeah. But there were so many odd things that happened since that, you know, as in it's like synchronicities, coincidences, you name it. What it's like.
Lots of people in, you know, the paranormal world believe that family members and all attach themselves to you, particularly in times of trouble.
Yeah, but
particularly in times of trouble.
Like the people said, like, "Oh, you're amazing." I think, well, you know, I saved like 10 people. I'm thinking, well, I didn't really. I just used my knowledge. But when we've gone back to this gully, and you can't even think about jumping it.
Because I find a lot of people, they think they've dragged something, and then it'll happen. I believe that it's spirit giving a message for something. So I do believe if you do see something, especially with myself, it's either a warning this is going to happen, be prepared. Like I had, it was a couple of years ago, I don't remember where the pilots flew the plane into the mountain. Well, about 3-4 weeks before? 3-4 weeks before, I'd had the vision of it, because sometimes I have visions, they're like little films, or they're like little pictures, or it will just come to me and I'm suddenly there, and I'm getting these pictures. And I actually had the plane being flown into the mountain, and of course, I knew it was the pilot that had done it to commit suicide, and I'd said to you, hadn't I? I said to him, I said, "I've just seen this, this is silly." He said, I said, "I'm telling you," I said, "we're all going to die," and he goes, "Special." And 4 weeks later, exactly what I'd said, wasn't it, happened. So I do get that, and I do think if you do dream things,
can you stop
notice
it?
sometimes.
But can you stop it and prevent it? What his guide was saying, or was saying that you're going to be okay, and you're going to live through this, but can you actually prevent stuff that's happening, that's going to happen, or is it destiny? Is it
destiny?
fate?
I don't know. I think it's destiny. Like I be honest, I believe that when we're born, we've all got a time and date, and it doesn't matter what you do or where you are. That's my belief, and you can't change that. That's what I believe anyway. But I do think sometimes when you do have dreams about certain things, like especially with health. Like I had one of my mother a few weeks back. I kept having it for her heart, and I kept saying to her, "Right, you're going to the doctor, you're going." And I took her, and actually she's got such severe heart disease that she shouldn't be here. So I think you can prevent it to a point, but I don't think you can change what's going to happen. That's what I believe anyway. So
it's quite strange because I don't dream, or I don't think I dream. But when I do dream, we had 9/11, 7/7, and there was something else as well that I can't remember. But the day after, there was always something that happened.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't a dream about sort of 9/11, about any planes going in, but it was a really vivid dream, and it was really sort of like shook me up, but it was like, oh God, that was a hell of a dream last night. And then you don't think about it. The next day, then something big had happened.
Something strange. You should write it down and just see what happens. Because sometimes you get So if you get something, write it down.
Kind of funny. We're like, as soon as you wake up, it's like, what was I doing?
But I had a dream one
I
night.
do get some wacky things from
Yeah.
things. I just, what on earth was I thinking?
Find a pen, is it?
Yeah.
What are you that for?
There's also another thing that people say about journeying in your sleep, where you have such a vivid dream that it seems real, when you've actually left your body, and it's not a dream.
Flying dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah, flying dreams, journeying.
Oh, I get those. I've had a couple of them.
You don't know. And people quite often wake up then after that, and they feel drained. They feel stiff, like as though they've done a day's work, and they feel tired of them when they've gone to bed, but they've slept solid. They haven't been up to the toilet or nothing like that nature. So.
Right, we're going to have a little break now, so if everyone's going to get a drink and whatever. We're going to set some equipment up. So when you come back, we're going to try and get the portal going and just have a look.
We'll explain it.
How long do you think the break? How long? I don't know.
Are there any non-human entities here?
Is that you? Don't do that to me. Is that you?
No.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
What?
Did you hear that?
The tapping.
No, he was not.
Did you hear that? It literally went
Yeah, I heard that.
down the table. I swear to God.
I could
Do
have
you mind
forgot.
if I ask, please? Ryan, is that you?
Listen. Right, we're all
Ryan,
talking
is
too
that
much.
you? He came. Is it doing it again, or is it just me? It wasn't me. It wasn't me. Thank you. Is that Ryan? Thank you, angels. Was that my brother?
Sorry.
It's okay.
Sorry.
Is your name Ryan?
Is your brother Brian, is it?
Ryan.
Yeah. Brian, are you here?
Ryan.
Are you here?
Yeah, are you Ryan? Oh my God. I hope you're okay and you're safe.
She said to me.
I love you. The next thing's for me, with my brother Ryan.
She said to me in the half-time break.
That my brother Ryan. I love you, Ryan. You've proved to everyone here as well, I've got to say. Not in my house, did he say? Don't, because you scare the holy crap out of Mum. Don't. Oh.
Stay safe.
Stay safe as well, yeah. Oh my days.
You're
Perfect. My hair, is it alright, yeah? It's alright.
Is that for breakfast with you?
Sorry?
Is that for breakfast with you?
Love each other, he said.
Love each other, yeah, okay. Was that still to me? I don't even know.
Yeah, I think he's still trying to talk to you. He's just saying love each other.
Heart sings.
Heart sings.
My heart seems broken, I think he's trying to say.
Could you knock the window for us?
Can you hear me? I heard him on the table. The Lord has something, it just said, was it?
I know.
The Lord's with Ryan.
Sorry.
Is it?
I'm just determined answers. Is Ethel Griffiths there, please?
It is.
Ma'am.
Great family list. I can see the few family members coming through on this
Yeah, this is what I'm after now.
Yeah. They're all sort of queue up.
If there's a spirit here that wants to talk to a family member, can you give their name, please?
She's eating them.
She's eating something.
I think it's a meeting.
Something pink.
She's a meeting.
Did That's it, Melanie.
Can you do one at a
No.
time, please,
No.
so we can understand you, please? I'm right here. Can you give us your name then, please, or the person you'd like to speak to?
Nan, Ethel Griffiths, if you're there, can you say my last surname?
Use all our energy, come on, there's plenty in this room. Hug each other. No, let them do that now.
No trees about. Mm-hmm.
Blonde hair. Sue? Is someone Sue?
My mum is, but she's not.
Is she passed? No. No. No.
Complete message for you to get to her name.
The thing is, my nan's at peace, so there's no.
Do you have a message for anybody? Can you speak more clearly, please? Give us their name. As a child.
Different ones altogether.
Is there a child here?
You're my favourite.
Thank you. Hey, you might be talking to me yet. I don't know.
Is there a connection?
Do you know what heaven's like? That's a good way, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm wondering if they could be listening to us.
Is there a connection between humans and aliens?
Yes, that one. That was.
What did you say?
Yes,
Yes,
that's
that one.
Are we the aliens?
We're discussing what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's what I think they'd be listening to us. Can you speak clearer, please? Yes, ma'am. Yes, something.
Why is it always being cut off like that?
It's just them coming in and out. They're using our energy. Yeah, every time we talk, he tells us off, doesn't he? Do you have to be more clearer on what you're telling us so we can understand? Slowly and clear.
Are there aliens on the other side?
Stop saying that. I told you.
Because you're all giggling, so it's, like I said, we're not all human.
The darkness.
Are they dark entities?
You must see them.
You must see that.
You must fear them.
Have I ever met them?
Where is it?
What's your friend like?
Where is it?
Oh, you must see them, yeah.
Yes.
I do see them. What's their name?
States. All states.
What states they're in, maybe?
Do they mean us harm?
Get off this one. Get off this one.
No, I just did that. Yeah, just
I'm fine. Can you give us your name, please?
Can I, sorry, thanks for coming through for us, by the way.
Angel.
Angel.
Thank you, angels. Cheers, angels.
That's funny about angels coming through because quite often in investigations we get an interaction and somewhere through the interaction it'll say angels or evil and it's, you know, quite often what happens.
We have even been told to run. Yeah.
don't jinx us now.
They do come and some funny things sometimes. They told us to run from the spider once.
Yeah. They come through on the spirit box, well, it's not the call. They said, run, he's coming.
We thought they meant green it, so we all ran.
Yeah, it's very nice. The spirit's coming through now. Can you give us your name or someone that's in the room, please?
What is it back there? Susan Spear.
What we'll think sometimes, if someone isn't thinking of a question in their head, the spirit, they can actually hear what you're saying. So if anyone's asking any questions and then an answer comes through, it actually could be for you.
So then, Robert, what are you asking? Because obviously you're affecting her.
Oh, it's been affecting me. I've been doing my head in all about it. Robert, car accident, Robert. I think, for God's sake.
You just got told to shut up.
That's why that's all night. I was just about to ask you when I told her in a second. I asked you.
Are there any shadow people here? Are they to do with aliens?
I think that was
Are they negative?